Hello and welcome back to another episode of the SDS Green Room. Here we are.
More energy.
Oh, let's go again. You know you're right.
More energy.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the SDS Green Room, and it is an exciting one. The reason Fuad has asked for more energy is because Thomas Frank has been caught and compromised to a permanent end. He has left Tottenham Hotspur. I'm here at the stadium, as you can see. To dare is to do, and I am daring today. We are ready to talk about the Thomas Frank sacking, and I am joined by an elite group of individuals around me. First off, I'm going to go with there's no really vice captains. Everyone is a captain in their own right. So next to me, I've got Mr. Fuad Kadani here. Hey. How are you looking? How are you looking today, sir? You just woke up. You're probably thinking, yo, what's all this news?
I can't lie. I actually woke up to your voice because you called me and told me, "Hey, get up. News has broken." And listen, I've got a new energy about me, bro. I'm feeling refreshed. I'm feeling energized. I'm excited for this one.
I think all the gray hairs are gone now. I don't think I've seen you,
bro. You see how youth reversed itself? All of a sudden, I got my mojo back. No.
Let me introduce the other panel members. We have Amenya here, who is our honorary SDS member at this point. He has joined in the SDS, and he's bought the Thomas Frank mug that he had at Bournemouth. Is that correct? Is that the right one? Or no, there's different?
He's just telling us he's an arse there.
All right, fair enough then. Well, we have Amenya here, and last but not least, we have a special guest, a guy who hasn't made an appearance on SDS yet, but hopefully we'll hope to see him more in future episodes. It is Kish from Lily White Lab. Let's give him a big round of applause.
I don't know why I'm clapping myself. Thank you for having me, guys.
Do it, brother.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Fuad has spoken highly of you, so I really wanted to get you on today's episode, and I'm sorry it had to be on today's terms. So, because as you know, Thomas Frank has been sacked. It has happened today after a disappointing loss, I would like to say, because I did watch that game last night, and it wasn't a great game. They lost.
Was it Arsenal in that?
Huh?
No, Arsenal on this one. No.
Hey.
But listen,
this is what you got to put up with, Kish, by the way.
Yeah, I'm ready. Don't worry. I'm ready.
Sorry,
I'm reborn today. Like
even the layout, I made sure it was I made sure it's specific because it's half of us is Arsenal, half is Tottenham. So me and Amenya will be objective when we can, but we're also enjoying ourselves as well. But I don't know, because they seem to be more happy than us, Amenya. I don't know what's going on, so we'll have to speak about that. Fuad, you have just released your reaction video to Thomas Frank. I heard the song that came out, the intro. Is it Ken Carson?
Yeah.
That's a good
big
song.
vibe.
Big vibe.
This is some of the best news that's happened in a while, honestly. I remember even when Ange got sacked, I wasn't this jovial, if you make sense. With Ange sacking, it was kind of more like a culmination of things that happened throughout 2 seasons where you feel like maybe he hadn't learned his lessons. Where with Thomas Frank, I feel like it was a whole different situation. This was almost like a dead man walking for months, bro. Like, I think for about 3 months, the entire fan base has been against this guy. But this board have, for some reason now, wasted an entire January window, wasted the last 3 months. I think, as you said, Kish, earlier from the North London derby, I think I waited a little bit after that because I still thought that was early doors. I remember the Liverpool game before the new year turned. That was the point where I was like, all right, you know what? I'm not seeing nothing here. Neither the football, the tactical flexibility that I expected him to bring. I thought he was a people's person, a motivator from the clips I'd seen of him in the Brentford dressing room. You never really got that vibe that he was exuding that kind of character or that kind of, the same thing that Ange had. Ange, one thing I'll give him is even during his worst runs, during his worst periods, I could listen to one press conference from that guy and immediately I'm back in. Like, I'm back in because the way he talked was like an authentic, he didn't have a filter. He kept it so real all the time. And one thing you felt with Thomas Frank was he was a yes man. Very early doors, you got that vibe that he was just saying he was grateful to be at Tottenham. He was grateful to get a step up in his career, and he didn't want to upset those above him by saying anything too scathing in the media. And after a certain point, bro, that becomes a detriment to your job because the fans can see through that. And then when you're not getting the results on the pitch, when you're seeing the football that we're seeing week after week, bro, I don't know how many teams came to us with 8 games they haven't won, 10 games they haven't won, 13 games they haven't won. Bournemouth, West Ham, United, so many bad teams we played. But as soon as they come and see us, it's a gimme. And I'm sorry, that there's no defending that. When you've lost the dressing room, you've lost the fan base, you can't coach anything on the pitch. Your tactical changes always negate what we're looking at. Genuinely, we might be looking at the worst Tottenham manager in the last 25 years, in my opinion. I think you're looking at maybe since Jacques Santini. People will always say Juan de Ramos. He at least brought me a cup, bro. People will say Nuno Espirito Santo. At least he got a manager of the month, bro. He gave me 3 games where I could enjoy it. Thomas Frank ain't even give me that. And the thing is,
he nearly gave you a Super Cup.
Yeah, you did have a little 3 games. PSG.
Now you ain't doing that, lads. Yeah. I think the worst part about all of this is that so many of the Tottenham fans actually thought he was the right guy. We actually thought, you know what, he can be the guy to come in. Next 3 years, we can really build in his vision. And the fact that it took so long for this board to figure out, bro, we're halfway through February. It's Valentine's Day in 3 days, bro. It's taken this long for the board to realize that this guy isn't cut out for the job, when in reality, he hasn't been cut out for it for months. And you could have saved yourself at the Liverpool point and said, you know what, January, we'll give it to a new manager. You could have saved it before the FA Cup and maybe had a cup run second half of the season. Instead, now you've left it all the way to this point where you're 5 points above the drop zone. If you sacked him before Sunderland at the start of January, you would have been within 3 points of the European places. So that tells you this, for me, is not, as much as I'm excited that Thomas Frank has gone today, the job of people leaving this club is not finished, Brian. Lang, Vinay, we're turning our attentions to you very closely, brothers. But right now, I just want to enjoy the moment of, you know what, being free of this demonic realm that has overtaken N17 for the last 6 months.
I definitely think you raised an interesting point there in terms of Thomas Frank, because it's taken this long. But do you think the reason it's taken this long is because the Tottenham board and what's going around Tottenham for the last, since the beginning of the season, Daniel Levy stepped down. There's been massive injuries. Kulusevski obviously has been out since the Europa League, just before the Europa League final last season. Madison went down with an ACL. I mean, you have massive injuries that has affected Thomas Frank. So do you think that's probably why they're giving him so much leeway, because they feel kind of he's gone and stepped into unfortunate circumstances?
I think that would be giving him excuses, I'll be honest with you, because I feel like the one thing as a board that you get judged on is your decisiveness. You don't get judged on tactics. You don't get judged on how you play out on the pitch. Your decisions and your decision making is what you get judged on. And the fact that Levy was leaving was like, okay, new board, you've just won bonus points. What are you going to do with these bonus points? And instead, they have just completely spurned that by wasting January, wasting their time with him. Because one thing I will give Daniel Levy, and people will say, I don't want him back. But one thing I will give him, that motherfucker was decisive. If he felt like a manager wasn't it, you're gone. Nuno Espirito Santo, I'll give you 6 weeks, you're gone. It don't matter. Like Jose, I can love you and want you, you're gone. Conte, big rep, you're gone. And I respected that about him. But these lot, it's like, because this was their first choice, they wanted to give him as long as possible, not realizing that by doing that, you're just doing it at the detriment of the club. And now we're looking at it 5 points above the drop zone in a season after you've broken your 17-year trophy drought. Bro, remember last season was meant to be a blip. Last season was meant to be a one-off freak injury season. And some way, somehow, we've repeated that same season, but worse. Some way, somehow, we've done it worse. And I'm sorry, but this board have to be held accountable.
No, of course. I definitely agree. Kish, I want to bring you in here now because, like I said, a lot of the fans will be getting to know you for the first time, and I'm really excited for them to hear your perspective. And like I said, I've seen your content, I've seen your tweets as well. And then you said that you're kind of done with Thomas Frank from the North London derby. What did you see ahead of time? What, like, a lot of people were still willing to give him leeway. What did you see from that point that you knew this guy wasn't the man for the job for you?
So I want to caveat that first of all, I was a big supporter of Frank coming in the first place. Like I wasn't like massively ahead of the curve, but for me, when a manager comes in, they have to show signs of patterns of play or a type of game model that you can get behind, basically in the games that you're expected to win. Like, especially a new manager, like I'm not really judging them on, North London derbies specifically. So it wasn't about going to that game specifically. It was the accumulation of setting up cowardly and risk averse in every single game that he played. And I think pretty much what Thomas Frank did is basically miss on every point that a manager is meant to have. So in terms of the media, I thought he handled the media so badly. In terms of what Fuad was saying about how Ange really brought the fan base together at times in terms of how he spoke, because as a manager, all you get to communicate with the fans pretty much is the media, right? You don't really get to speak to them one-on-one or whatever. So you have to be very thought out and careful about what you say in the media. And as much as you guys will laugh at this, but his constant talking up of Arsenal and talking down of Spurs, that is not how you win a fan base over. Bear in mind, Spurs have come off the back of someone that really massively talked the club up, really wanted to change the club's fortunes, really wanted to make... And I was also of the thought that Ange should have gone as well. But I just think in comparison, it was constantly minimizing fans' hopes, fans' dreams, constantly tempering expectations, where Ange, when he was in the job, said, it's my job to manage the players. Let fans dream. They can dream as much as they want. You guys have a right to go and hope for the best and expect the best and go into every game. And that galvanizes a fan base, that helps the atmosphere. So that's a one point. In terms of tactically, there was nothing. And I think when I got to that Arsenal game, I was just looking at all the games I'd watched, and I'm like, I don't understand one pattern of play or one style that we're trying to create here, barring we had one pass that we just spam over and over again. So what we do is we cycle the ball round the back four, we get it to Pedro Porro, he would ping it into the channel, and Kudus would try to retrieve it somehow. And Kudus is a player that can turn, which what I always say about Kudus is he can turn 50-50s into like 70-30s in his favor, because he's so strong, so quick, but also ball retention is a joke. But we played him into the ground because we just kept spamming balls at his head, at his chest. And that was our only way of getting up the pitch. Apart from that, and bear in mind, when we did get up the pitch, then there wasn't like attacking kind of patterns of play to create chances. It was often winning a set piece or winning a second ball, or being very cross heavy, which is another thing that I really think is very defendable if you set up in the right way. If you're so reliant on crosses, you're minimizing, for me, your chances of scoring. You need to have different ways of hurting opposition. So the tactical setup from then was bad. And obviously we played Kudus into the ground. He got injured. And that was pretty much Frank's only way of progressing the ball gone. And you know how big ball progression is in the modern game, and how you have to be able to bypass presses and stuff like that. So,
Kish, just quickly, do you remember last year as well? Everybody used to talk about how Ange's playing style was running the players into the ground. But
No, I mean, I 100% agree. I think the reliance on physicality in this style of play, it was so much about duel winning, aggression, kind of set pieces, which for me, as a top team, if you're playing in that way and you're relying on those things, you end up leveling the playing field a lot more than if you play with the quality that you supposedly have over the opposition. So let's say you're playing a Burnley or a Wolves, for example. If you're so reliant on second balls and set pieces, you're kind of leveling the playing field a little bit, because every team now in the Premier League is physical. Every Premier League team is athletic. Every Premier League team has a set piece coach. So the advantage that you do get being one of the top teams that can spend money is you have that technical advantage. Obviously, you get slight physical and athletic advantages as well, but more often than not, you have the higher quality player. So to kind of level the playing field and kind of minimize yourself in that way, to play off percentages, is why I think he was successful at Brentford and not successful at a team that needed him to scale up, pretty much.
I think you've broken it down really well then, and you just mentioned Brentford there, and I think another damning thing about him was the fact that Brentford are pushing for European places while he's pushing for, he's 3 points above the drop zone. So Amenia, I know you're probably thinking from that side, that's probably the most damning thing for Thomas Frank. His set piece coach at his previous club is absolutely doing wonders.
Dog, bro. We're starting to realize it might just be the computers at Brentford, you know. We're seeing computer challenge for top 5. It's crazy.
It's true.
You got Pep Guardiola, you got Arteta, and you got the computers at Brentford. Fair enough, man. But I'll be real, I'm sad for 2 reasons. Obviously, the first one being, like you guys, I must admit, I was thinking Thomas Frank, that's a good coach there. That's someone that can do a good job at Spurs. Like, big respect, Ange, you got the trophy, but it's your time to go. Thomas Frank, I rate it. after PSG, and I forget who you man's first 2 games were. I'm thinking, ooh,
Burnley and
these
City.
guys,
Burnley and City.
yeah, I'm thinking, is this a serious team? What's going on? And then you got guys that were obviously gassing up the away table up until like December, when obviously people would finally realize maybe it's time to go. So I got that wrong, and now I'm sad because it's not fair. How come everyone else gets their turn? I wanted my turn to go to the Everybody East Arena over in Spurs and get my 3 points as well. Now I have to deal with new manager bounce potentially next week, and I don't like it. It's not fair. There's a lot of injuries. Like,
we're planning to play United, and they sack their manager and now.
no, bro, it's not fair, man. It's not fair. Kulusevski's injured, Madison's out, Kudus is out. Give him his tools and let him cook. This is harsh, guys. Come on.
Nasty. You see, I expect nothing less from Arsenal fans.
Come on,
But
guys.
all I'm gonna say is, do not let this North London derby become a Spurs win.
No.
Do not let the worst ever Spurs side with potentially. I'm gonna guess as Johnny High.
Wasn't the last year the worst ever?
Nah.
What is the worst ever again?
Nah, this is worse.
We were low before. We've gone even lower.
Is it? We'll see. But I'll be honest, 5 points. You might need it more than us, you know. Hey.
Lads, don't let this be the first brick that brings the house down. If you don't lose this,
Listen, you can zoom in and like bend the big blue house as much as you
Carabao
want.
Cup final.
It's gonna get scary.
Listen, don't let Arsenal win, and then West Ham are looking right up at you, thinking, "Hey, 3 points, or is it 2 points even?"
Yeah.
Listen, hey.
I know you
to be
guys were
fair-
celebrating that Sesko equalizer because that was big for Tottenham. I was like,
Oh,
oh,
I can't even lie to you. My head was so gone. I wasn't even watching the United game. I was still in my head like, yeah, 3 points. I can't believe we're 3 points off the drop.
No.
And I'm just bare messages saying like, yo, Sesko, you saved your life.
But this thing, I'm still just like, we shouldn't even be here. Like, why are we here? Why are we worrying about West Ham? Like, not like, I'm just like,
you've just
bro.
won the Europa League last season. Obviously, you let go of your manager, and then you got someone like Thomas Frank, who no one's gonna sit here and be like, we didn't know we knew Thomas Frank wasn't gonna do well. I think that was, unless there's probably a few people out there, but we knew he was kind of the one on manager. He's more pragmatic. He's tactical. He's able to help, someone like Tottenham to help springboard that Europa League triumph into a potential top 4, top 5 kind of finish. And what happened this season, like I said, it's just kind of been the massive downfall. And it's sad to look at it from his perspective, because I think a lot of stuff has been unpacked of his now that, like you just mentioned as well, Fuad, and I kind of liken it a bit to Emery at Arsenal, where the whole good evening, everything gets memed. It's like, oh, like everyone's kind of done with him. With Thomas Frank, I feel like he's had to go through that, and it's very unfortunate. I definitely agree he should have been sacked, but
honest, bro, it's a bigger lens that gets put on you when you move to a bigger club. And as much as people want to try and dismiss Spurs or whatever, bro, going from Brentford to Tottenham is a massive step, bro. And for him, everybody probably thought, yeah, it was the right step for him. We all did. But when you see 4 home wins in 27 games, bro, I don't know if there's any manager in Premier League history with a home record that bad, truthfully. Like, I know there have been managers who've gone on bad runs, but they haven't had teams like this. They haven't had money spent on them like this. Because I'll be honest with you, even coming into the season with the summer, with the signings of Xavi Simons, Kudus, Palhinha, Danso being made permanent, I'd never seen I'd never seen Jose. I'd never seen Conte. I'd never even seen Poch, who is one of our best managers, be backed in that same manner. So you're thinking the right manager, the right signings are being brought in. And let's be honest, I look at the Spurs team and there's a hotbed of young talent. There's a lot of 20, 21, 19-year-olds that with the right coaching could develop into really good players. You thought maybe with his kind of striker lineage that he had at Brentford with the Wissers, with the Mbembos, he could come in and do that coaching. As Kish said earlier, at every level that you thought he could succeed at, he himself drowned at. And he doubled down on all the things that were going wrong for him, which for me is the ultimate sign of bad coaching. And a lot of the times in games, what you noticed was he would set up his game plan. We would play horribly for 45 minutes. And at some point in the second half, for a 5 or 10 minute spells, the players would actually abandon his game plan. Yeah. And for that 5 or 10 minute spell, we would look like a competent team. Why?
And then he would do this. He'd be like, "Calm down, stop, like relax."
And then make 1 or 2 steps. What he would do is he would take like an Odegaard off bring on a Danso, we're going to a 3 at the back, and all of a sudden we're back to playing that slog.
Look at the City game. The City game was a prime example.
Bro, it just unbelievable sometimes. And you're just like, what the hell are you doing? And sometimes I feel like it's the same thing that happened with Graham Potter when he went Chelsea. Sometimes the shoes are just too big. Sometimes the blazer is just too big. And I'm sorry, when it's clear and obvious like that, you have to get out of that situation as early as possible. And I think the biggest frustration that we as Spurs fans have is the fact that the Spurs board saw it time and time again. That Chelsea result, worst London game I've seen. Then you follow that up with the worst North London derby in history. And bro, we have been slapped up in a lot of North London derbies over the last couple of years. But
that was the worst one.
Was hands down the worst one. Then you follow that up with some of the worst stretch of games I've ever seen. The home form. It's indefensible, bro. It's indefensible, honestly.
The final writing on the wall is when Romero went against the establishment in a way and kind of said, "Listen, you guys are not backing us. They're not helping us at all." He did a Stone Cold Steve Austin over there.
I want to let Kish speak on this one as well, but Romero is in danger of looking too much like a martyr as well, because he has some blood on his hands for a lot of results this season as well. So I don't want him to come across as like, oh, I did this for you guys, bro. Brother, you were involved in this mess as well, you know, and as the captain, you're steering the ship. So as much as I like you calling out the board and things like that, you're leaving us short on the pitch, brother. So you're partly to blame for all this as well. But Kish.
Yeah, no, I think with Romero, I don't think he wants to be here. I don't think he's wanted to be here for a while. I think he wanted to go in the summer and didn't have the right suitors, and then thought, "Fuck it, let me give this a go." But I think he's too emotional of a player, right? Like he in big games when it matters, which for his time at Spurs has pretty much only been Europa League semi-final and final. He's able to lock in. He is able to lock in, and he knows the jeopardy that's there. I think on a season-long basis, when he faces like adversity or turmoil, his head just goes. And like I had this pet hate with him. Like the defensive stuff, whatever, that we can unpack that. But there's this one thing he's done at Spurs for a while when we've been a mess, and he just goes up front. Like towards like the last 10 minutes, he just says, "Fuck it, I'm gonna," and it drives me insane because I'm like, what is your best quality? Is probably your on the ball ability to pass through the lines. We lose all of that when you go up front. 2, like, cool, you can win a few headers in the air. Like it's worked a little bit under Frank, but I'm like, we've already got 3 strikers on the pitch. You're just cramping up space there, and we need someone to actually get us up the pitch. That stuff is like just the perfect sign of what he is as a player and a person right now.
Has he not scored more goals than most of those strikers though? Because without his goals, he might be in the relegation zone. So maybe.
But there's context there because like we only start playing when we start losing, right? We only start playing when we're behind because there's nothing to lose at that point. And Frank's like, okay, fuck it, we'll start attacking now. And then Romero goes up front. We just spam crosses over and over again, and he is good in the air, to be fair. So, but I think him as a person, I don't think he wants to be here. I don't think it makes sense keeping him, to be honest. I think he's kind of someone that needs to be held accountable by other players who are of a higher stature than him. So I think if he goes to a club where there's other players on his level or above his level that can actually hold him accountable, then I think some of this behavior gets stamped out. But I think he's got too much power within the club. I think he doesn't want to be there. He is too good for this stuff. He is. And I know it's hard to praise his on the ball, his abilities in general at the moment because we have been so bad. But I genuinely think if he goes to a better club and in a better space right now, you see good performances again for sure. I think that of him and Van der Ven, to be honest.
Sometimes it's being coached by a different manager. I mean, Ameni, I don't know if you agree with this comparison, but he kind of reminds me of like when his early stages Gabriel, not in terms of the red card moments, but the erratic, the kind of bozo moments he has. Like Romero kind of has something akin to that. Do you think that's someone that if the right manager steps in, Romero could get coached a bit better and he would want to stay at the club and become the talent, the captain there, the proper captain, the proper leader for them?
I mean, not even on a trolling thing. I've seen Romero under multiple different managers now, and it's been the exact same. So I don't know at what point, he's not like 22 years old. At some point, you kind of have to look at yourself and say, yo, this slightly isn't acceptable. Tottenham are a bit of a younger team, let's say, nowadays. People are looking up to you. You know, you've won the World Cup. You big up your thing. Maybe Otamendi hold your hand. I don't know. That's not what I'm saying. Maybe some people will say that. People look up to you and say you are the one that should be setting an example. You can't be getting 3 game suspension, 4 game suspension. So sure, I agree that in a different environment, it can be different. But ultimately, we have to judge him on his time at Spurs, where he's meant to be leading the line. Some people will put in their hands in the air saying, this is the best defender I've ever seen and whatnot. And then now we're talking about, maybe, ship him out. So I don't know if I can liken it to Gabriel.
Nobody said ship him out. Don't do that.
At some point in time, you have to say, when is the penny going to drop, bro? Because he's not getting any younger. At some point, I don't know.
I do agree with that point, though, in terms of like where you're kind of comparing him to Gabriel. I think with Gabriel, you saw that when he was young, in maybe his first season or 2. I think now we're going into Romero's 5th season. I think he's 27, turning 28, bro. Like that was the biggest disappointment with that kind of United red card was, bro, at this point, you should be much more matured. You should be more kind of measured and composed. Like, I like that you've got that hot-headedness and aggressiveness to your game. I think one of the biggest things that Spurs fans do like about it is we almost feel like he represents us on the pitch. Desire.
That's every fan base. You're gonna like people that are like a Torreira for Arsenal. People just loved it because it's like 100%. Run around and just boot guys.
You feel like they're genuinely playing for the badge. But there comes a point when you measure that. You use your brain. Like, I think one thing I really like about like a Lisandro or a Casemiro, they're smart with their fouls. They're smart with their little digs that they give, and they get away with it so much. But Romero, he is almost like a gangster on the pitch. He has no interest in being good relationships or keeping composed. For him, it's just kill out there. And I'm like, brother, I used to be a defender like you. There comes a point when you need to calm down, and it's costing us too often now. And I think, as Kish said, bro, I think if he was in a better environment, he would look better. But then the reason why I think those bigger clubs haven't come in for him is because of that issue that he looks like. I mean, would Madrid take a gamble on someone who detonates like that? Would Barca take a gamble on someone who detonates like that? Would Bayern take a gamble on someone who detonates like that?
No, he's excluded.
But at Spurs, he's in this comfortable space where he knows he's a World Cup winner. He's a seasoned vet. He can kind of get away with it. And he's captain. He can kind of, bully people and no one will say anything to him. But it's not the way to be a top captain, in my opinion. And if you really want to be in those conversations of top centre-backs, it's things like that you have to scrub out your game.
I also slightly think that if Maddison and Kulusevski and Solanke and we had our first team players around, I don't think they would allow him to behave some of the because he's also got away with some this season as well. These are the 2 sending off weren't the only ones. Like, there's some that have been like that could have easily been a red card. I remember a couple of years ago he was pulling Cucurella's hair from a corner.
I'll let him land.
I'll be honest,
neither do I.
I don't think they should shout at him for that one. That's fine.
There's so many that VAR have just like turned a blind eye to. So I'm like, I know people say like, it's his reputation that gets him these red cards. I'm like, nah, it's not really. It's just like it's his behavior. But yeah, I can't defend him. But I'm also like, just off the kind of comment, like off my knowledge, I do think that if he was in a different environment, he'd be better. Like we see for Argentina, right? On the international side. I know that's a different game, but yeah, but it's not my place to defend him anymore. I'm like, I don't care anymore. You if you want to keep getting red cards, like go and do that. But I'm just, off a football fan, I know how good he can be at his best. I just know that he hasn't shown that consistency.
He's so Atletico coded for me. I'd love to see him on the Simeone. Maybe if Simeone
but hear what? Guess what? They used to say that about Gallagher. Bro, don't even get me started on Gallagher, by the way. Did you see the counter? Bro, Kish, you know where I'm going. Bro, the counter-attack to Newcastle, you have 3-4 options in front of you, and then this is exactly...
That's so him.
And I know you spoke about it as well. This is exactly what we were saying, why we didn't want Conor Gallagher. He is not the answer to anything. Since he's coming, he's been here a month at the club, yeah? Let me ask you two. Have you seen even a game? I know people will bring up the City assist. Take away the City assist.
He was rubbish that game as well.
Yeah, he wasn't that great. That assist helps him.
Brother, it lost over.
Him, and it was like an act of brilliance from Solanke. So that's why
behind him.
Linia's been doing where in my opinion, I thought he had a lot of meaty games, but people are gassing it up because he would score a last-minute winner or equalize rather and take off his shirt and do. But I'm thinking, bro, but I'm watching the 90 minutes. You aren't really doing anything, and you've already got midfielders that aren't necessarily the best progressors of the ball. They don't really dictate tempo. And you go and say, you know what, 170k a week. Let me go get another one. I don't understand
bro,
the logic behind that.
200k. 200.
Is it 200? Oh, man, I got the wrong data.
Listen, of all the years Tottenham have struggled with their wage structure, we struggled to give Harry Kane 200k. We were like, we don't know if we want to give you that, despite everything he's done for us. We went in the middle of January in our worst season and said, Conor Gallagher, we're going to break the bank for you.
Highest paid player, isn't it?
Of all the players in the last 10 years we've had, Conor Gallagher's the one you want to break the wage structure for. Make it make sense.
It doesn't make sense. I was saying it too before we started. Like that first half, I genuinely felt like you guys were playing at St. James's Park at one point. Saw diving in the middle of the pitch. I couldn't believe that one. I was just like, what are you doing over there? Like I said, Xavi Simons, I feel so bad for him because I feel like he's the only one who tries to make something happen. And maybe it's most of the time it doesn't come off, so everyone ends up looking at the stats on FootMob or SofaScore. They're like, oh, he lost the ball. He lost 8 possessions, lost 10 possessions. And it's just, but the reason he's done that is because he's trying to make something happen. And unfortunately, he just left with bozos around him who just is just not willing to play. So I think the next segment I want to get into, and I think this might be the exciting time for you and Kish, Fuad, is to talk about the potential replacements, because I know there's a few names on the horizon. I know you mentioned one earlier, so I will bring him up earlier because I personally don't agree with it, but maybe you might see something else. But let's go with Heitinga. Where do you see Heitinga? You and Kish, where do you see him?
I think
too risky.
Yeah, go on, Kish.
I just think too risky. There's not really a sample size there. He had the Ajax job for a month, maybe something like that. I can't I don't know enough about him as a coach, and like all the other candidates that we've been linked to have done a lot of like digging into, but there's nothing really to go off on Heitinga. And to be honest, I just kind of want this whole lot out. Like I know he's just come in it, but like I'm like, I just want something completely fresh. I don't want anything related to this.
Just rip up everything.
Top to bottom.
I hear it.
Vinay, Lang, the whole lot, bruv.
Hey, but Vinay, do you know why? Emenya, we sent him over from Arsenal. He's our inside man. He's like,
well, I wanted to say that because he was destroying Arsenal himself as well. So
I want to touch on Vinay quickly because I think supposedly why Frank stayed in the job so long, and this is why I never feel like people who aren't football people should be running clubs. Like these are businessmen, and it's fine. You stay on the business side of things, but Vinay's whole thing supposedly was that he was at Arsenal when Arteta got appointed. Arteta had a couple of rough years, and look how it turned out. So for that reason, we're gonna give Frank time. But it's like, how can you just look at one situation and just be like, that is exactly what? Like, you have to see the nuance in what's happening on the pitch, and that's why I feel like he was just looking. Arteta did this. Frank's doing this. Let me just give it time. It's like you need to have people that understand football to make those decisions. And I thought when we got rid of Levy, the people that would be making the decisions for the club would be people that know football, who have expertise in football, like, you know, your data people or whatever. But it's back to the same point we had with Levy, where there's people making decisions about the football side of things that don't understand football, and they're just businessmen. Like, and that's a huge problem.
I agree with you. Like, they always look at one success story and they're always like, yeah, this is like, I'm going to use this exact blueprint for every single else. Like the Ruben Amorim at Man United, it took him so long because they're like, no, we've seen our story.
Arteta's done damage for every other club who have rubbish managers.
And we ain't even won yet either. That's
Hey, I'll tell you, it's a copycat league, bro. Everyone just copies whatever the trending thing is, and everyone just does it. But in terms of like managerial options, I think Heitinga's a non-starter. I think he's just a stopgap from now till like maybe till the end of the season or whatever. I think if I'm looking at like the serious candidates that are available now,
what's the name that you're thinking of? Because I know you have
3 names I'm looking at that are available now. Enzo Maresca, who's obviously been sacked at Chelsea. I think serious gaffer. I think what he was doing at Chelsea really impressed me, I'll be honest with you, despite all the chaos that was kind of happening around him. I think Robert De Zerbi just got sacked at Marseille. Now, with him, I like his philosophy of having an identity and playing attacking football. My only concern with him is he's a ticking time bomb. So I know he might come in and give me exhilarating football.
You might want that, you know.
but he might also blow up the club in about 18 months and leave us in a worse situation.
And the board and him, I just don't think they'll get along.
I can see another Conte type situation there. So that's my only kind of hold there.
I love De Zerbi's football, but I agree. Like, I just think personality-wise, I think it's a bad idea.
But your whole thing is to dare is to do. I think go for it, bro. Not even on a trolling thing. Genuinely, I'm not even trolling. I genuinely really rate De Zerbi, and I think I agree with what you're saying. He could blow everything up, but hey, the risk of if it goes right, and as an objective person, I think it could be cold potentially.
My only concern is obviously, bro, he's been at Marseille for how long? Things have already gone south there. He was at Brighton for a few years. It looked brilliant. Things went south there. Before that, Sassuolo, things were great. Things went south there. He always has this habit. And it's the same thing why I said we need to stay away from Glasner as well. Glasner has this habit of 2 years. I'll give you exciting times, but by the end of the 2 year, I'm going to blow this club up. And I'm sorry, I've been through too many of these types of managers. I just want someone to just bring me some steadiness. I think Xabi Alonso is a great option. I'll be honest with you, that ticks all the boxes. However, I think the Liverpool job, he is pretty much just waiting for that, which then leads me to my next option. If Xabi Alonso goes to Liverpool, I wouldn't mind taking a stab at Arne Slot. I'll be so real with you. For me, he is someone who he's accomplished. He plays good football. I think the Liverpool situation, obviously, this season hasn't gone as well. And I think the added pressure from that is obviously the money that they have spent, money which he's never going to be able to spend over here. However, in terms of his coaching ability, I think he's incredible. Obviously, the big name being thrown around is Pochettino at the end of the season after the World Cup. Kish, I want to know how you feel about this as well. Me personally, I'm not for it. I feel like leave an ex-partner. You broke up for a reason. And things aren't the same now as they were when you took over last time. We are in the same situation as we were then as well. I don't know what he would bring now. And I feel like he has almost damaged himself over the last couple of years with this US reign, with that Chelsea run, with the PSG run. There's a lot of blots there where I still don't feel like he's answered a lot of the questions that were asked of him when he was at Spurs. So I don't know, aside from the like nostalgia and that he knows us factor, the real benefit to bring him back Pochettino. If it was from now till the end of the season on a 6-month thing, I get it. But for the long term, I don't really see that. And then the last option, I think, who I would seriously consider, Michael Carrick at Manchester United. Ooh. If he carries on doing what he's doing at United, I liked some of what he did at Middlesbrough. I know some things were out of his control. But if he kind of implements a good game plan there, I'd be happy to take a punt on him and see what he can build from there as well. If United go to a different route of Luis Enrique or something. But that is like a lower tier option I would go for.
So Kish, so he just rattled off some good managerial candidates: De Zerbi, Xabi Alonso, Pochettino. But obviously, you've already said you don't really agree with that one. Arne Slot, Michael Carrick, Heitinga is like that's pretty much last resort. But who are you looking at mainly that you would love to see?
The only one that he's missed, which would be a summer appointment for me, would be if you could attract Nagelsmann after Germany. I think he's been at Germany for a few years now. I think he suits the modern style. He can adapt in terms of shape, so to players and stuff. But he's front-footed, develops young players. Obviously, I think where he's been as well, club-wise, he's had good recruitment behind him. And I always think like managers only matter up to a point. Your recruitment has to be on point. It has to. And that's one of the biggest issues at Spurs right now. But in terms of the ones he said, I think for me, Pochettino, people have to realize that when Pochettino was managing Spurs, the last time we were like a really, really good side was 2017 and half of 2018. Even when we got to the Champions League final in 2018-19, we weren't that good. We were kind of stumbling over games and the team kind of fell apart, and I think a lot of that was down to the board. But it's been a long time, and football has moved on a lot since Pochettino was flying at Spurs. And I don't think there's been great evidence that he can remodel his game in terms of the new Premier League and stuff like that. I think he was good for 6 months at Chelsea, or like half of the stint at Chelsea, he was good. And USA has been, but you can't really judge USA. So I just think that's just another risk. And I think it's an easy win for the board to get the fans back on side without actually having to do their jobs and their processes to finding the right candidate. I think Xabi Alonso for me is the dream, but I just can't imagine that happening. Maresca out of the kind of realistic, available people would probably be my choice. Like, I think personality wise, like he's not super charismatic, but he clearly can get players on side. Style of play I really enjoy. I think it's more probably towards like the old Pep style than the new Pep style, which like, you know, there's talks about that kind of style going a bit out of trend and out of fashion, but I really liked his Chelsea football. De Zerbi is like my favorite style of football. I love his football, but I think he's a horrible person, to be honest. I think I've seen clips of him like bullying players. He's obviously signed a certain player to his club.
Definitely see the
Multiple players.
band of misfits. He's got more. I don't think Fuad, you would call it a band of misfits at the Marseille. I think it's a band of something. I don't want anyone.
Runner? Yeah.
Keep the money, keep the money, keep the money, keep the money.
That's a bag of degenerates right there, man.
Yeah.
Sorry, one name that it was the hottest summer target, and this season hasn't gone as well for him. But he's another one, I guess. Obviously, up back at the Thomas Frank. You don't know if he can make that step up into a big role. Areola's name hasn't been mentioned at all. Is he a name that you look at anymore? That stock has gone now.
I think Areola wouldn't go the same way as Frank. I think again, like his football is so based on chaos, and I worry about him against low blocks, which is what teams in the top 6 face a lot of the season, right? A lot of Iraola's games is like transitions. I think this season he has tried to kind of be a bit more controlled at times. I think, one, to protect players from injuries, but also to be able to, because the better your team gets, obviously the more respect that the other teams show and they sit off you. Again, I think it's a risk because of the fact that he's so reliant on chaos and teams that come to Spurs. Not at the moment for sure. Teams will come and attack us right now, but I think down the line, your likes of Burnley and whatever, they're going to try to minimize chaos. They're going to try and minimize spaces. And I worry that he won't have an answer to that. I like him more. I think he's a forward-thinking manager. I don't think he's like someone that hates risks and stuff like that. But I think there's better, more reliable options out there.
Yeah. There's a potential one.
Go for it.
I think we're talking about like stability and whatnot. I think it's time for us to find the next Harry Kane, and to do so, why don't we bring back Tim Sherwood?
Ooh,
that's the one that can
Sky Sports News. Sky Sports News have been peddling this. This is why. That's
exactly why I said it, by the way.
Bro, this is why like, you see how they wheeled him out? Bro.
Every time, this is the thing. It's like the laziness of like some of our fans thinking. It's like, who have we had before?
Yeah, they're like, oh, you know what?
He's not available. Like, let's go Sherwood or Harry Redknapp. Like,
Harry Redknapp is a good shout.
You know what? Yeah, you know,
Nico Crenshaw to give the keys to Xavi.
I'm guilty of the Redknapp one, because when Thomas Frank was there, I was getting desperate. I was like, bro, I'll take Redknapp for 6 months. But now he's actually gone, and I see options. I'm cool. Stay in your home. We don't need you. It's winter right now. Don't leave the house. Get your food jab. Yeah, I mean, get a hot water bottle. Cool.
It was like when Roy Hodgson had to isolate in COVID. He wasn't allowed to manage.
I think two more names I just had, right? Eden Terzic. I don't know if you guys are thinking of looking at him. Obviously, former Dortmund manager. He bottled it last season, the season before, where Bayern Munich last game of the season. I think he was the one there. He won the DFB Pokal. He got to the Champions League final, played against Real Madrid. But
again, like, I worry about these kind of people. Always, obviously, trophies are a massive thing with managers. But I think when you're trying to build something, cup runs I don't really look at. I really want to look at league campaign. And he had decent league campaigns. At my old job, I used to work for Coach's Voice, and we did an interview with him. So I met him, and like he spoke really, really well. But I mean, all probably elite managers are able to speak very well in the game. So I think from Dortmund fans' perspective, I remember them saying very much defensive, boring football, which I know we keep flip-flopping as Spurs fans between what we want, but I'm like, no, I can't watch. Like, I need someone with like a forward-thinking style. And the
last name I want to throw out there is a 3-time Champions League winner as a manager, 3 in a row.
Actually, say
One pool of league wins, you never know.
I'll give Gaffer Maz an interview then.
I mean, that is a staunch Arsenal support. Would he take the Tottenham job? I don't know if he'll do that.
You know what's so
He
crazy?
has taken over a team that was fighting relegation, and hey, we know how that ended up.
Exactly.
Many points to play for.
I actually messaged him a couple weeks ago. I said, "Yo, you would be interested in a backroom staff role?" He said, "Hell."
And he said, "What's written is written." So to Derek,
You can't snitch, though. You can't snitch about that, bro. That could be the bag, man. Don't snitch. Don't
Nah.
snitch.
I don't want him anywhere near my club now.
I'm looking at Zinedine Zidane potentially. Is he an outside shout? Is he so outside he might be out the
Bro
planet?
went on Chat GPT and started finding names, bro. Who's available? Who's unemployed, man?
Wait.
Off
Emenya,
the weed.
I'm not Faisal, yeah.
Stay off the weed, bro. Please.
Zinedine Zidane, you never know, man. You better be looking at that Tottenham job. You'd be like, stranger things have happened in football. And I refuse.
I'm not sure they have, you know. I'm not sure they have.
What was the infamous Di Maria quote? You work so hard in your life only to be linked to Tottenham Hotspurs.
Yeah, I mean, right.
I know Zinedine Zidane won't be happy with that, bro.
That guy's on a yacht somewhere, like enjoying his red wine, and you want him to go to this stadium? Come on, man.
I mean, we talk about the North London Derby quickly. I mean, the next league game, sorry for you guys, North London Derby. When do you need the manager wrapped up by? When do you need that announcement? End of this week, latest?
Monday, I'd say.
Yeah.
Monday.
Because that game is on the 20th, 22nd or something like that.
Is it the
Yeah,
Sunday? I think it's the Sunday.
Second Sunday,
It's still about 10 days away. So regardless of if he does come in this week, I think he'll have about a week or so to kind of gel in with the players. And I think, look, when you do come in as a new gaffer that first week, it's hard to implement, tactical ideas and philosophy and patterns and all this. Brother, just come in, do what Carrick did. Simplify it, bro. Like, make your instructions as easy as possible, as digestible as possible. Let the players play free. I'll be honest with you. That's all I want to see. Look, so many times this season at home, we have played with a handbrake on. We have played scared, and especially coming up against bigger opposition. I can't recall many games where we've actually taken the game to people. I would love to walk away from this game feeling like we tried. That I'm not even asking for a win. I just want us to feel like we've tried. Because I'll be real with you. I look at it in terms of comparisons of like derbies. The closest one I can think to the North London derby is Everton-Liverpool, where the kind of the bigger team, the lesser team, the difference between them. And every time I see Liverpool versus Everton, bro, it's a close game. It's a draw. It's a 1-1. It's a 0-0. Because they seem to understand what that derby means. They seem to play with a care for that fixture. And it seems like the North London derby, for me, always highlights how much mental midgets almost we have at our club every season. It's like, oof, I thought we were building something, but the reality check has come. So all I want for this game, give a little dent to their little title bid. Give us a little something to cheer for the day and let that manager have a good day. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for much. It's simple.
Fair enough. Emenya, what are you looking for that North London derby? Do you think they're gonna have a new manager bounce, or we're still confident, right?
You know what it is? I'm actually less concerned about the manager. I'm more concerned about the fans in terms of, I can imagine had we gone there in the current circumstances of Thomas Frank, they would have been deflated. Arsenal go there and pop them 1-0. It's over. Now, no matter what, they're gonna remember. Oh, it is a derby. They're gonna probably have the white little bags and whatever. They're gonna be gassed up for it, and naturally, naturally, the players are gonna be boosted a little bit. So that's the main annoyance for me. I wanted to go there where they're demoralized, because we get it. They are kind of cheats, but like for what they said in a derby, it don't really matter. That can be a massive motivation to be like, you know what? Listen, the fans were back now. We finally got rid of Thomas Frank, who they've wanted out for a long time. They've shown it vocally. They've shown it by leaving whenever they leave. So I think that's going to be the major concern. But at the same time, if we are a serious team, it shouldn't really matter who's there and how many fans. You go and get 3 points and another day in the office. That's the ideal scenario.
Sounds good. That is the SDS Green Room. Kish, any final words from yourself about playing in the Championship next season? Sorry, I had to add one in there. Let me get something.
I'm trying to go Preston away and see. I don't know. I'm now this has happened. I'm like, I think we'll be okay. But I think the new manager, he hasn't got much to choose from. I think we've got 12 fit players. So I think what's been said about the atmosphere is a massive thing, because that game, 100%, if Frank was still there, the atmosphere would be flat after 5 minutes. But I think that's the one kind of thing I'd hold on to for that game is the atmosphere will be good. So we got a long time to wait. Thank God. Like I really didn't want to like watch us for a while, so we got a little break. Hopefully, have a new manager in, and then we go from there.
The race to 40 points.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Race to 40 points.
Well, listen, I want to thank you all for jumping on today. Listen, Fuad has got a big smile on his face. I love to see him happy. Kish, unlike your team, you have had a brilliant performance today. So I just want to give you a round of applause.
Thank you, brother.
Very well on your debut. And Amenya, once again, thank you once again for jumping on. You are, like I said, an honorary member of SDS. I think people look at you as the basically one of the main members of this.
One of us.
What I'm saying, that's the comments that are saying that, you know what I mean? Until I see it in the paper.
I heard there's an announcement coming soon. I don't know. I don't want to say too much.
Do I need to order my suit? I don't know.
I don't know. But listen, once again, thank you guys for jumping on. Thank you once again to the viewers for having watched this. Thomas Frank has been sacked at Tottenham. Let us know in the comments below who you guys think should be the managerial replacements. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys very soon. Goodbye.